Welcome to Club Wealth TV, everybody. We're talking today with Grant Wise about how to generate seller, not just leads, but actual listings in low inventory markets. As you know, Grant is the king of the client generation machine, not just lead generation, but actual client generating machines. And all the talk in the industry seems to be around buyer leads, buyer leads, buyer leads. Here's the reality. Guys, right now, more than ever before, you need to be focused on seller leads. We need to be bringing in listings. The old cliche is you need to list to last. And I got to tell you, it's not just cliche. You need to list. You want to be baller. You want to really crush this. You want to make a ton of money, and you want to be able to really build a team, scale your team. Learn how to get listings right now. And so we're talking also very specifically about how do I get listings in a low inventory market. And so before we get into all that, I want to put a shout out very quickly to, first of all, our sponsor for today, which is WiseHire. Brian and I both use WiseHire a lot. They're a great program. It's very affordable. They help us with recruiting, whether it be for administrative positions or for sales positions. We get a discount for you guys like we do on everything else. So if you go to clubwealth.com/WiseHire, that's WIZEHIRE, clubwealth.com/WiseHire. You can get the Club Wealth discount on those guys. We love them. We use them literally every single day. We have campaigns running all the time with those guys, and it helps us scale our team. So that said, Coach Brian Curtis is with me today. You guys know him. You love him. He's the man, the myth, the legend. And
who needs a haircut? That's why I'm wearing a hat.
I've got my my COVID coif going on right now. My quarantine coif.
I'm just going with a hat. I gave up.
That's a good move. I don't blame you at all. And so Brian, as you guys may or may not know, is a consistent, 350 plus transactions a year guy. So he's been around the block a bit, done a few things. And then we've got Grant Wise with us today. And Grant is, as you know, the owner of Witly. Grant is arguably one of the most intelligent technology guys in the industry today. Really very astute, specifically with Facebook and social media, and knows how to drive business. So Grant, without any further ado, walk us through this. How are we going to get more seller leads? I'm excited because I want more sellers listing with our people. So how are we going to do it?
100%, man. Thank you again for having me on Club Wealth TV. I think this is the second time I've been on here, and it's always a pleasure. So I appreciate that. I think you're 100% right? The old adage was you have to list to last, or I always heard it, you have to list to exist. And I want to kind of give a little bit of context here. In a couple of years or less, that saying won't just be a saying, it's going to be a reality. So if you're listening to this, in my opinion, you really should consider making listings a massive part of your business. And there's a lot of people that want to work with buyers. Generating buyers is one of the easiest things I've ever seen. It's not complex, but being able to generate listings won't just be a skill set or something fun to do. It will be a requirement, in my opinion, in the next couple of years. So please, please, please take some of these types of things seriously. So this is one of my favorite strategies of all time. We call it our fish in a barrel campaign because it's literally like shooting fish in a barrel. It's one of the easiest ways I've ever seen to generate a listing frenzy in your business. And so here's the strategy. This is nothing like crazy magical. It's actually a strategy that has existed for a long time. All we did is we put it on social media. So it's an old FSBO trick, right? You call a FSBO and you say, hey, I've got a buyer, right? And that's typically the strategy I always hear people talk about when it comes to calling. What we do is we take that buyer story, a real one, not a fake one, and we try to get them to say it, in a 60 to 90 second little video that you shoot with your cell phone. Who are the buyers? Where are they wanting to move? What are they wanting to buy? Why are they wanting to relocate? And when are they wanting to do those things? It's 4 really simple answers to those questions. And we take that buyer video and we promote it on social media, targeted towards people interested in selling their property. And when somebody watches or engages with that video, we drive them back to a messenger bot. So the ad is really simple. Hey, this is, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. They're looking to buy a home in the so-and-so area. They're shopping in the $250,000 price point. They're looking for a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, and they're trying to relocate in the next 3 months. If you have a home like this, or you know of anybody that has a home like this, either tag them below or shoot us a quick message. And what happens is people start engaging with that ad like crazy because either A, they can actually see a buyer that may want their property, or they know of somebody that matches the criteria that we put out there, and they tag that person in the post. And this strategy has produced listings in almost every instance that I know we have helped somebody run it. And it's an incredible strategy, but it's also an incredibly old strategy. This isn't new, right? I'm not some like magical guru. All I've ever done is taken things that work really well offline and put them online. And this trick obviously has worked exceptionally well for the last several years, if not decades. Tell a buyer's story via video, and it's better if you can get them to do it. Target that video towards people that want to sell their home using Facebook ads, and engage with those people in the comments and in Messenger, and you will generate a ton of listings in your business.
Dude, first of all, wow. Like, okay, I love this. Let me tell you what I love about this. So often people tell me, oh, Michael, I don't want to hear the old school stuff. That doesn't work anymore. And so often I catch myself saying, no, all of the stuff we're doing today, we've been doing for decades. We just do it differently today. Yep. The delivery vehicles are just different today than they were 2 decades ago, but the same stuff works. And we forever and ever and ever, and I've never told people to go out and pretend you have a buyer. Instead, you always want to use the buyer's name, right? Like if you're cold calling through a neighborhood and you've got somebody, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, legitimately Mr. and Mrs. Smith, or thinking about buying a house in this, 3-bedroom, 2-bath house in this neighborhood, but they can't find what they're looking for. That's a great call to make. It gives you a really great conversation that you can start. And you say, look, I've got Mr. and Mrs. Smith over here. They've been looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. They can't find what they're looking for. If you were able to get whatever price you wanted, you didn't have to pay commissions, you didn't have to pay closing costs, you didn't have to do any work to the house, you didn't have to deal with, when is it going to close? You could close whenever you wanted, and you literally would not have to do a thing. Would you even consider an offer on your home? Who says no to that, right? Nobody says no to that. So it's if they're at all interested in selling your house, they're going to say yes. What you've done is you've put that on steroids by essentially saying, no, let's just videotape the client, or videotape, video tape.
Michael's dating himself.
Wow.
And I'm older than he is, so I can say that.
On your camcorder.
Get your Betamax. And, so anyway, but my point is you video the person, you literally video them saying, hey, look, we're looking for a house in such and such an area. And, if you know of somebody that's thinking about selling, please reach out to my agent on the thing here, blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden now you create that engagement. Dude, this is ridiculous. This is a great strategy. And the retargeting, and I have a feeling, and I'd love to hear from you. I can see where the organic engagement would be off the charts on this. What I'm curious about is the retargeting. I got to think that the retargeting has a big impact on the success of this campaign. Can you walk us through that for a second?
Yeah, I mean, for those of you that aren't familiar with our process, we've got to do 3 things to build a client generation system. First, we got to generate leads. Second, we have to build a brand, which is the relationship we have with the market. And then third, we have to convert. So consider this that kind of level 1 lead generation type strategy. It's our hook, right? So the same as putting out a homes list campaign or a home value or guides or quizzes or whatever. This is that first introduction to the agent. And we're just using the buyer as that first hook to get attention. When we get attention, we then have to keep it. So what will help them set up are either video view remarketing campaigns, or you can create retargeting audiences out of post engagement, people that actually engage with the post itself. So now what happens when somebody initially engages or interacts with that post, they go into this retargeting audience where we're now instantly following those people all over the internet, building a brand, building a relationship. And here's the fun part with sellers. We're not just building a relationship with anybody on the internet. We're targeting our video content, that remarketing content, to build the relationship, build the brand with people that we know are interested or know somebody that is interested in selling their property. And that's really, really, really powerful, because what we're hearing a lot of today is Facebook ads don't work. My leads won't answer the phone. I can't get anybody to respond to my texts. Nobody's reading my emails. And the problem has become that you consider that one email is shared to almost 20, one lead is shared to an estimated, 20 different agents. Zillow's sharing it 4 or 5 times. Realtor.com sharing it 4 or 5 times. Trulia is sharing it 4 or 5 times. If a lead's not getting an answer from an agent, they're going to go opt into another agent's website. There's a lot of people that are giving their information to multiple sources, knowingly or unknowingly. And so when they're berated with calls and texts and emails from the same kind of subgroup of people, realtors, it's the person that stands out that is going to get the opportunity to build that relationship. And so what we discovered is that if the only problem, because we hear it all the time, is that agents can't get in front of people, because if they could close them. Everybody says that. If I just get in front of them, I can close it. Well, if the only problem is you can't get in front of those people, well, let's follow those people all over the internet. So when they go to Facebook, they're seeing my face. When they go to Instagram, they're seeing my face. When they go to read a blog, they're seeing my face. When they go to watch their Amazon TV, they're seeing my face. Like wherever they go, we're remarketing those people all over the internet so we can build that relationship. It's information, and I have this written on my board because I said it the other day. Information alone is not going to win you more business. It's only going to win you more opportunities. So if we can't build a relationship through that remarketing process, it's not going to work. You're not going to convert at the rate you should. So yes, we use the buyers and their story to generate those initial opportunities, and then we remarket those people to build relationships with those people.
So let's dumb this down for a minute. Let's assume that some of these people are old like me and don't necessarily know all these ins and outs. So step one, you create the video. That's relatively simple. If you can't do that, then, well, I don't know what to say. So take a video. Any hints on that? Like, is there anything? Obviously, we want to have some emotion. We wanted to tell a little bit of a story. Is there any other hints about when you initially create that video?
Yep. Advise your clients, pull out their phone, shoot a cell phone selfie video, pull out their iPhone, and literally just record a video with them both on the screen. Why are you wanting to? Who are you? What's your name? All that. Why are you wanting to move? When are you wanting to move? What are you looking for? And that's it. Like, you only need the answer to those few questions. It's 60 to 90 seconds, 1 to 2 minutes. You can, people as storytellers, in emotional processes like buying a property and do those types of things, you don't really have to try to script that process. It comes out naturally. When we're in situations where we're putting ourselves out there and we're being a little vulnerable and we're sharing what we're looking for and we're doing a lot of those types of things, we very naturally kind of revert to that form of really great storytellers. We use emotion the right way. And a lot of people get opportunities to tell their own stories. I've seen people take this to a very professionally edited level because they have special needs children and they have this or that or the other thing. And I've seen people just pull out their phone and record that who, what, when, where, why type video. That is all you need to do. It doesn't need to be crazy. And something that's really, really important to remember today as we are creating, this little TV episode here, our reality is not professionally edited content right now. Our reality is cell phones, Zoom chats, video recordings. If you go watch TV today, the only commercials you really are going to see are commercials with video chats, cell phone shot videos, the Amazing Race, or no, it's Survivor, right? Survivor's still running on TV, but the host, who's typically out, on an island or whatever, is actually creating content from his room for the commercials or from his bedroom from the commercials. Like, our reality is not crazy, professionally edited, pulling out all the stops type videos. It is the Zoom chats, the cell phone videos, those types of things. So step one, create your video. Exactly.
Okay. So yeah, it's funny because I don't know if you guys watch Saturday Night Live or not, but Saturday Night Live, I think it was 3 weeks ago, they did it. It was horrible, but we watched it anyway. Then week 2, they got a little bit better. But anyway, literally even Saturday Night Live was doing live Saturday night Zoom. I think Tom Hanks was the host. It was a really cool idea. Didn't work out well, but week 2, it was better. I don't know if they'll do it again or not. But so, who, what, why, where, and when. I love that. 5 W's. I teach that when I do discovery. In essence, what you're doing is you're doing discovery through a video, and they're doing the discovery for you, which is amazing. So, all right, so I've got my video. I got the guy to send it over to me. Now I've got this raw piece of video. Where do I post it? Obviously, I post it on Facebook, but do I post it on my personal page? Do I post it on my professional page? Do I boost it from either of those? Dumb this down for everybody who's watching.
Sure. You take that piece of content, you post it to your Facebook business page, write a little bitty blurb about it. Hey, if you are interested in selling your property, meet so-and-so. They're looking for this property, trying to move, at this time. Here's why they want to move. Just a little couple points about it. And you do not boost it, as like clicking the boost button and putting some money at it. What you want to do is you actually want to go into your Facebook ads manager, either through your personal profile or to go to business.facebook.com, go to your actual ads manager. And you want to target this post at people interested in buying or selling a property. Okay, so Facebook has a very generalized target audience now that seems to be really good for both buyer leads and seller leads. And so target that at people interested in buying or selling property. And the objective here, when you're setting up this campaign, there's a couple of different objectives you can use. You can target for video views, because what we're trying to, for remarketing purposes, we're trying to get those 10-second views or those 15-second through plays so that we can remarket our brand to people that are actually engaged or interested. Or you can run for engagement, and either or, you're still going to get whatever your overall goal is. Now, if you want to get a message conversation going right from that video, you can actually set up a send message objective on the ad itself. So people will click the button, they'll send you a message, and they'll give you their information from a seller standpoint.
So let me ask you a couple quick questions along those lines. So you've probably forgotten more about Facebook marketing than I know. So with that in mind, why don't I want to boost it? Why do I want to use Ad Manager? Because my initial thing is I hit boost and my dummy can go in there, pick my audience and do it. Why would I learn Facebook Ad Manager versus just boosting it?
Yeah, I think that's a really great question. I've always equated it to boosting a post is kind of like just giving Zuckerberg some money. With
I like Mark. He's a nice guy.
Well, with no real hope, desire for that money to come back to you. Like if you click the boost button, yes, you do get to select a little bit of an audience. You don't spend a ton of time selecting things like your objectives, really detailing your target audience, getting the right ad set, like the campaign ad set ad ratio in play. Like there's a couple of nuances, obviously, that if you're not trying to learn how to be a professional advertiser, are a little bit over your head. You might just think like, well, I'll just click the button. And what you're doing is you might as well go to your favorite charity and click the donate now button and give that money to them, because it's not actually going to do you any good, but that money could go to, you could use that for some other form of good, right? So if we go back into the ads manager, it opens up a platform that gives us a more optimized experience. We want our dollars to come back to us, right, in the form of clients. And so we need to be able to set up ads, optimize the right way, the right campaigns, the right ad sets, the right ads, the right targeting, the right objectives. And if we don't go in and really, fine tune those things, select those things, it's going to cause, a serious lack of results.
So here's what I'm hearing. If you don't know what the heck Grant's talking about, take his class, because I'm going to guess that the majority of people, and this is a true, and here's the thing, I've been running Facebook ads since 2014, so I've been doing it for a while. We started out with Boost, but I can tell you, if you don't spend time in Facebook Manager, if you don't get someone to teach you, you're going to log into that thing and you're going to cry and then you're going to leave. So, but it's not that complex if you get someone like Grant to teach it to you. So someone who's got a plan, who's got understanding. So free promotion there, Grant. I think this is an opportunity for people to learn that, and it's worth learning, right? You can either burn your money or you can learn.
The top producers in every market didn't realize that to become the top producers, they were going to have to become the top marketers, the top brand builders, the top salespeople, right? They had to develop skill sets that would put them in those positions. And learning something like Facebook advertising, yes, might be something that is added to your plate while you're in the middle of contracts, negotiations, appraisals, inspections, all those types of things, 1000%. But the thing is, if you do not create systems around the way you get customers, which is primarily what we help people do, you will never, ever get off that inconsistent real estate roller coaster ride, because your attention will go one place and then it will have to go the next, because you're in a reactionary business. It'll have to go to contracts and then inspections and then appraisals. And you'll wake up in 2 or 3 weeks like, oh, goodness, I forgot. I got to generate more customers. And you'll run back over to calling or texting or whatever it is, staying top of mind. The reason that you should learn and develop your skill set around advertising is because advertising is one of the few ways that you can create systems around the way you get customers. Leverage, yes. If I don't have a leveraged way to bring more clients into my business, my business will always be capped at the energy I put into generating those things. And that is
it's the grind, right? You hear agents complain about it all the time. It's the grind, it's the grind, it's the grind. It's because literally when I'm done with my next client, I have no way, I don't have a system generating more. My system is, this is Brian, how can I help? And not that that's a bad thing in and of itself, because there's plenty of people who have done that. But if you want more, you're going to have a system. And as someone who fought that, because I was just like, I'm the best salesman on the planet, I'll just sell and sell. And I did. And I sold a whole bunch, and I was really, really tired. So, it works. But, my question is, my 48-year-old version probably can't do what my 35-year-old version did, which was 100 hours a week.
I'm 30 years old. I'm not going to sit on the phones for hours in a day. There's no way. It's a dumb thing to do, in my opinion. I'm not going to be texting people like crazy. I'm not. So
let me just say, Grant did not say do not lead generate. He said he's not going to do it 8 hours a day.
I did not say don't prospect. I just said I personally am not going to do those things because as a business owner, as an investor type, I think it's a really stupid use of my personal time. I do have people in our organization that do those things when they're trying to generate business, sure. But I've generated over 17,000 appointments for my company, and I never called one of those people. I never texted one of those people. I never did any of those things. I just did what I'm telling you guys you should do. I put out a system to generate leads. I put out a system to build my relationship with that audience. And I built a system that would convert those people to an appointment when they were ready to speak to me, not when I was ready to speak to them. And that's given me the freedom to only talk to people that are ready to do business or have already paid me to do business. And I understand this is not the best thing. You guys are both smiling like, shut up, dude. Like, we're teaching these people every day to grind and you're killing it. But as a business owner, somebody that wants to create leverage, somebody that wants my money to go out there and make me more money so I don't have to spend my time to do it. No, I think it's a really stupid thing to do as the owner of your company to go spend, hours in a day on the phone.
And I agree. So as the owner of the company, I don't lead generate either because that's not my job. My job is to do marketing and advertising, but there are definitely people on our team whose job is to call people. And here's the reality of what I'm going to disagree with Grant just for fun. My experience is this, and I think he'll actually agree with what I'm about to say. We use technology to bridge relationships, to start the relationship. But at the end of the day, at some point in time, we're actually going to have a conversation with somebody if they're going to buy a house.
Business is done on the phone. Business is done in person. I'm not debating that in any way, shape, or form. I'm just saying create systems that help you get to the phone, get to
absolutely.
Those in-person meetings.
Get someone to call you and Michael's talked about this for years. Stop chasing business and start attracting business is kind of the same thing that Grant's saying here. So
I'm again, we're not in a way that ruffles everybody's feathers. That way we can have a more engaging. Everybody's probably listening to this like, oh snap.
My word is and. So just keep that in mind.
Just gonna say
and.
That. Yes, it's not or. And look, I always tell people look, systems don't fail, people do. If it was up to me to be calling every day, texting every day, emailing every day, doing those things, I would not stay in the business because I would get burnout like crazy. And there's no way I would want to keep doing that. I would hate that inconsistency. But having systems in place that do those things for me gives me this rejuvenated energy to go serve the people that I actually get to do business with every day or the people that actually want to do business with me. So my only thing is I'm huge on creating systems around bringing me those opportunities so that, like Michael says, I don't have to go chase them. I'm definitely not telling you not to get on the phone because that's where business is done. Most of my business is done on the phone, in a video chat, or an in-person meeting. I just have systems that bring me those opportunities.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to stop you right there. So first of all, 100% agree. It's not either or, it's both and. We need the technology and we need to pick the freaking phone. And that's how you guys freaking crush it, all right? So we're not going to go any further on that, but what I do want to talk about, and that is very, very important, and Brian, you alluded to this a few minutes earlier. You guys, all this stuff, the system that Grant just laid out for exactly how to generate seller leads very simply and very affordably, you can screw around and you can go try and do this and you can try and figure it out and try and figure out how to run the ads manager and all that stuff. And it would probably cost you, who knows how much you'll spend before you'll get it all dialed in. Or if you would prefer, you can literally go to clubwealthu.com. Is that clubwealthu.com, Tara, or clubwealth.com? I'm sorry, it's going to be clubwealth.com /Grant Wise Workshop. Clubwealth.com /Grant Wise Workshop. And Grant is doing a workshop. We've done these before together. The last one we did in person, and I think it was just under $2,000 to do this workshop, where we had agents come in from all over the country. They came to the Club Wealth World headquarters in Sumner, Washington, the hustle and bustle and metropolis of Sumner, Washington. It's a sleepy little town. Wait till you see it. It's cool. But now what we're doing is Grant we've got our very first virtual workshop with Grant coming up, where it's all online. It's completely done online. It's 2 days. It's done with you. This is not an educational workshop. This is where not only are you getting the education, but Grant and his team are literally helping you. They're saying, click here, click there, choose this drop down, post the ad here. Here's the audience that you're going to target to. And you're doing it with them together real time, so that in the process of learning, you're also running the ads in the right way and you're getting the leads coming in. And let me tell you, how many times do I have to say seller leads, seller leads, seller leads, seller leads? I cannot tell you guys enough. Stop paying for buyer leads and start buying seller leads. If you can get a listing, I mean, think about this. Brian, what's the average sales price in Bentonville, Arkansas? Let's use that as an example.
$220.
$220. What would you pay for a listing if you could just write a check and get a listing? What would you pay for a listing in Bentonville?
It's funny, we had this discussion a couple of years ago when the price point was lower. I'd say, look, if I knew I would pay $1,000, not for a listing, mind you, I would pay $1,000 to sit in front of somebody who said they were going to list their house in the next 30 days, because then it's on me. But think about that. So so 220. Let's simplify it, because let's do dummy math. $6,000. We'll just say it's a $200,000 listing, and we're going to the $6,000. If I paid $1,000, that's a 6 ROI. I'll take that all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. Because to your point, Michael, if I had, let's say that I had 100 more listings than I had right now, I could literally stop every single one of my buyer lead source generation that cost me money. These huge checks that we write every month, and I mean, Grant's not an agent, but I'm the only agent on here, but I can tell you I write huge checks every month to Realtor.com and Zillow and Ylopo, and they're all great companies. I don't have anything against them, but I promise you, if I could know how to get 150 listings at any point in time, I would cancel every one of those services that was providing me buyer leads and just work sign calls. Because if you can't work a sign call, then you should retire. Because if you can't work, this is Brian with Curtis Realty Group, when would you like to see the house? If you can't learn that script, then 38%.
The new script, which is, would you like fries with that?
Exactly. So, I mean, here's the numbers. 38% of sign calls close. 38%.
That's crazy.
Which means that if you suck, 1 out of 3 people who call you will buy with you. So, I'll actually take an ROI on list side as low as 3, because again, for every house I list, I'm going to market the heck out of that. I'm going to use IBR. I'm going to use Facebook. I'm going to use pay-per-click. I'm going to use all these things, and I'm going to generate an additional, hopefully at a minimum, 2 transactions from that. So what am I willing to pay for a buyer or for a seller lead? A lot of money.
And by the way, that's in a market. We just talked about Bentonville, Arkansas, which I know is near and dear to hearts.
Hey, Grant lives there too.
Right? So, seriously, like they give you a real estate license when you get licensed in Arkansas. I'm kidding. I'm totally joking. That's so wrong. But you get the point. In Denver, what would you pay in Denver for that same opportunity to sit in front of a seller?
I think that it's really formulaic. I mean, in my opinion, being around Walmart corporate, most of these corporate companies will take 10% of their revenue and invest it back in marketing and advertising. I tell people to aggressively invest 20% of their revenue back in marketing, because if you really want to grow, you can do big things. I think that if you just go look and you're like, everybody sitting here listening to this right now, what's your median price point, the deals you do, take 20% of your potential revenue and understand that if you'll invest that money in marketing, in my opinion, you will outgrow everybody around you simply because you're playing a different game. a lot of people try to figure out, how can I spend less money? How can I spend less money? And where people like Brian are like, how can I spend more money? How can I invest more in marketing? Because it's a really key difference between somebody that understands business and somebody that does not. Anybody could, it doesn't matter what Brian is going to do. It's what are you going to do in your market? Are you going to spend 10%, 20? I don't really care either way. Pick and then start aggressively spending money in marketing to grow your business. And you will grow to understand with Zillow and Realtor.com and Facebook and any of the ways that you spend money to get customers, exactly what your cost per result is, what your cost per appointment is, what your cost per closing is, what your cost per listing is. That's the secret. Like, that's the secret to really injecting rocket fuel into your business, is understanding that one little powerful number. Because if you understand that, you can take your business to whatever height you want. You can spend $1,000 this month, and then in 6 to 9 months, you could be spending $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month if you'll aggressively reinvest in your business. And so it doesn't really matter what market you're in. What's your median price point? Are you going to spend 10% of your commission check or 20? And I don't know what, Michael, I don't know what you guys teach specifically, but I'm saying, like, go spend 20% of your next check in marketing, figure out what your cost per closing is, whether it's $500 to get a closing or $1,000 or $2,000, and spend that money as fast as possible. As fast as your cash flow will allow, spend that money religiously, and you will be blown away at how big you will be in a really short time frame.
Let me ask you another question. I was going to ask a quick question. So, because I have a feeling that this might happen. We're generating Facebook leads, and there's nothing wrong with Facebook leads. I've built an entire business on that. But one of the things that I learned about Facebook leads is they're not necessarily right now leads. So here's my question for you. So I go out and I spend this 20%. What's a realistic time frame on my return, assuming I do everything that you tell me to do? And I know it's going to vary slightly, but the law of large numbers kicks in eventually, all this kicks out. So if I spend 20% today, realistically, am I 3 months, 6 months, 9 months? What's the term? Because I don't want people to start and go, this thing that Grant says doesn't work because I only tried it for 30 days.
Right. Yeah, sure. That's a great question. And I think it's important to remember that tagline I had there a second ago, guys. Spend based on what your cash flow will allow. Don't take 20% of your next check if you don't have 20% of your next check to spend.
Right.
So let's make sure we understand that financial principle.
Sure.
But what you've got to realize, I'll just give you our experience. Most of the people that we work with convert from 1% to 3%, meaning if they generate 100 leads, they will do 1 to 3 deals from those leads using Facebook. We like to get our customers into that 3 to 5% category. So if you're generating leads, you got the remarketing out there, you got your conversion ads in place, we want you to do 3 to 5 deals for every 100 leads that you generate. Then it just becomes a really kind of based on speed. How fast are you generating those leads? You should never generate more leads than you can handle. You should never generate more leads than you can afford. But how much can you handle? And so I've seen it happen, Brian. I've seen somebody start going under contract in less than a week. I've seen somebody
it does happen, of course.
I've seen people start going under contract in less than a month. I've seen people take an entire year. It really depends on how well did you implement what you learned? And this is why these intensive experiences I love doing with you, Michael, because we don't just put it all on the client to go sit in a room and take a course and try to struggle their way through this. We jump in with them. Our staffs are working together to help them actually implement right there in the room, which is why people at the last intensive were getting leads before the day even ended, before the first day even ended.
We had 27 leads in the first hour.
It was crazy. Like, we start seeing those types of things happen. But when you start to generate these leads, what we tell people to do is, look, spend $300 a month to start. That's a minimal budget. You're going to spend 60% of that on generating new leads. You're going to spend 30% of that on video remarketing, and you're going to spend 10% of that on conversion ads.
Okay,
so
hold on. That's huge. 60% new leads.
30% on brand building, so your video content.
And then brand.
And then 10% on conversion ads, so generating appointments or getting messenger bot conversions going.
Okay, that formula right there, guys, that's huge. And Grant, I don't want you to move on from that just yet, because that is really an important formula. Let's back up a second. I was spending 25% of my gross revenue on marketing, on driving leads. Now that's a lot, but the reason I was able to do that was twofold. Number one, because I was really focused on growth. Number two, because I got small in my personal budget. I didn't need a lot of money out of my business. I was able to live on very little that I got out of my business, and I was able to reinvest more, which allowed me to grow even faster. So if I could give everybody one piece of advice, if you want to really take this to the next level right now, start with this. Get small in your personal at-home budget. Stop spending so much money eating out. Stop spending so much money buying fancy cars. Stop spending all this money on other stuff that doesn't bring you a return, and start spending it on things like what Grant's talking about right now that does. Then put that budget up into the 60-30-10 principle Grant just shared with you. Go ahead, Grant.
I think it's really important to spend the money you work really hard for on things that make you more money, not on things that cost you money. I could not agree with you more, Michael. Take the money that you earn. I always struggled with this in the beginning because I really wasn't in that investment stage yet from a mindset standpoint. But when I started to realize that, hey, every $236 we're spending, we're making like $800 or $900. Well, I started to, like, anytime I would buy like a coffee, I would be like, oh crap. Like, that's almost, that's going to get me closer. Or anytime I would go buy like a camera, I'm like, but I could take that camera money and make like $4,000. I can't do this. Like, you start to really think like, oh, every time I give somebody $1, if I don't know how much of that dollar is coming back, that's not a good place to be. So I want to take money I work really hard for and spend that only on things that are going to bring me more money. We use that formula because we've found that through testing, it gives us the best results. Meaning $6 a day, what's that, roughly $3 a day? No, that's $5, $5 or $6 a day. That's $180 a month to get us new opportunities. All right. That's roughly 20 to 30 to 40 leads, depending upon the strategy. That's more than any agent really is equipped to handle. We're going to spend $3 a day following all of those leads all over the internet. Now, I don't know where in the world you could spend $3 a day and 24/7, 365 be building a relationship with people interested in buying or selling a property. Okay. The phone call is an exceptionally valuable part of the process, but it's people's inability to build relationships to get people on the phone that seems to be the biggest hurdle right now, which is why this dynamic video remarketing process is so crucial, because I can't spend $3 in my time. If I make a phone call for 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes, that $3 is gone. I already spent it. Whereas if I spend $1, $2, $3 a day on Facebook, I'm following people around all day, every day. And then 10% of conversion ads. Now think of this. This isn't like one thing happens and then all of a sudden the third thing happens. So this happens kind of in a funnel type form, right? First we're getting leads, and then the next level of that we're building a relationship with those people, and then the next level of that, only the people that have engaged with us the most are going to see opportunities to book appointments with us. So that kind of offsetting formula, it's not like, well, maybe I'll just do it the other way. I'll spend 60 on appointments and so on and so forth. It has to go that way so that it kind of puts people through this natural sales process with you. Do this until you get your first closing. I don't care if it takes a month. I don't care if it takes a week. I don't care if it takes a year. Do it until you get your first closing, because then you'll know your cost per closing. Right now, we're seeing an average $500 to $1,000 per closing. That means
that's crazy low.
Yes, it's nuts. If you pay $500, people listening to this to Facebook, they're going to reward you with a commission check. Think of it like that. And so once
I want to do a quick comparison before you cut that off, Grant, because I think it's important. So the average person right now is paying between $200 to $400 for a Zillow lead. Those are good leads, by the way. For one lead, though, and we're seeing a conversion, teams that are doing well, at about 6%. So anyway, I just wanted to point that out. Why do you want to learn what Grant's doing? A, take the power away from Zillow, and B, do it at a level that pays you significantly more. So again, I apologize for cutting you off there, Grant, but I thought it was an important point.
Oh, you're totally right about that. And by the way, we are basically out of time here, but Brian, you just nailed it, right? Why would I spend $400 on a Zillow lead when I can spend $500 to $1,000 on a closing, a commission check? And I got to let me put this in perspective. You know what I had to do to accomplish the level of success that I got to? I had to literally make 115 to 125 follow-up calls per day. you're accomplishing 90% of that with technology doing what you're talking about here. I want people to really think about that for a second. If I had then what you guys have now, how much easier would it have been for me to stay in front of people? And, we talk about drip campaigns, and don't get me wrong, drip campaigns are great. The email still does bring success, and text drip and all that stuff still works. That being said, nothing is quite like every single time they go to Facebook or Words with Friends or Scrabble or anywhere they go, they see you, they see your brand over and over and over again. And every experience they've had with your brand has been a positive experience. And then following the 60-30-10 principle, all of a sudden you're driving them to eventually a spot where they can convert into an actual appointment and thus into an actual listing, which again, we haven't even talked about the magnifier effect of this. When you get that listing, right? If it costs $500 to $1,000 to get that listing, the only thing Grant's talking about is the cost to get to that closing. He's not even talking about the multiplier effect and the downstream business that comes as a result of this in two ways. One, from direct response, and two, because all of a sudden now your brand awareness is ridiculous because you got signs all over town. You guys, this is insane. And if you're not doing this, you're crazy. So here's the deal. You need to go to clubwealth.com/Grant Wise Workshop. Clubwealth.com/Grant Wise Workshop. Go there now. Sign up for the next workshop. I'm telling you right now, it'll be worth it. You'll get the ROI. We don't endorse a lot of stuff. We don't literally outright tell you, go buy this thing very often. When we do, it's only because we know it works. I know this works. Go freaking do it. GrantWise works. So clubwealth.com/GrantWise Workshop. Get there now. Sign up for it. That said, Grant and Brian, do you guys have anything else you want to wrap up with? We're 1 minute over and we got to get to coach's call.
No, I just want to say thanks again, Michael. I really appreciate it. And anybody thinking about, registering for that, look, it's an experience. It's not just me standing in the front of a room telling you what to do. It's me and my team virtually kind of going through your computer screen, making sure that you're implementing what we're learning. And when we're done, you're generating leads. You've got videos following people all over the internet. You're building a brand and a relationship with the marketplace. And you have ads that are running to help you convert. And that's all in a system that helps you predictably bring more opportunities into your business, more clients into your business without having to worry about, I got to make sure I budget that call time and I got to make sure I do. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with those things. There's many of those strategies that I absolutely love. But if you don't have a systematic way to grow your business, a predictable way to grow your business, you do not have a business. You are your business. And that's not necessarily the best place to be. I want to help you create a lot of leverage. And in 2 days, we will accomplish some incredible things, but most importantly, we will have built a system. You'll have no homework. You'll have nothing left to go home and try to do. It will all be done. Your only objective will be to close the deals that start coming your way.
I love it. That's fantastic. Brian, anything to add before we wrap up?
Just find ways to create leverage in your business. And this is a great opportunity. What Grant's talking about right here is that, there's definitely different ways to do things, but, take a look at this, because the reality is we are going to video and we are going to marketing and remarketing online. It's just the reality of it. I'm not saying those other techniques don't work, but you need every technique if you're going to build a full business. And I think this is definitely something you need to include. So thanks for sharing what you did today, Grant.
Thanks.
Great stuff. Thanks so much, you guys. Everybody, remember, inside each one of you, there's a world-class beast. You got to choose to unleash that beast. This is one of those ways. Follow in our footsteps. Do the things that we did that got our businesses to the level that we've gotten them to. This is one of those things. Get signed up for Grant's Workshop, clubwealth.com/GrantWise Workshop. We'll see you there. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks, you guys.